Will you pray with me?
Holy One, in the story of Mary and Elizabeth and Zachariah and Gabriel, may we find your word for us, which you would have us to hear this day. Amen. I suppose it may not be too surprising that God chose aging Elizabeth and Zachariah to be the parents of John. John, who would become an amazingly interesting prophet, preparing the way for Jesus and for the challenging message Jesus would proclaim. After all, they were well-to-do, worthy in the sight of God, scrupulous in their religious practices. Zachariah is even a priest in the temple, and Elizabeth descends from no less than Aaron, Moses' brother. And besides, the biblical account has other stories of older parents having first children long before the time of Zachariah and Elizabeth. It's a significant part of Israel's tradition. So choosing Zachariah and choosing Elizabeth may not be such a surprising choice on God's part after all. God's choice of Mary, though, to take on this huge, important role seems more surprising. What was God thinking? At this point, we know little about Mary, except she is young, very young, possibly, probably, of meager means, and she is engaged to be married to Joseph. The wedding plans probably have already been made or are in the mix. The neighbors in this small town, this small rural town, most likely know all about the upcoming event. If she were rich, better situated, a little more mature, perhaps already married, Mary might be better prepared to be chosen by God, a more likely candidate for mother of Jesus. Now, Mary doesn't readily accept Gabriel's surprising announcement. It's too absurd, too preposterous, too unbelievably dangerous. And she wants to know, how could this possibly happen to me? Renita Weems comments, Mary is not questioning the wisdom of one so young being chosen, being called out for a special, amazing role in the holy work of God. What Mary is questioning is the untimeliness, the problems, the absurdity, the awkwardness, perhaps even the danger of this whole proposition. Young as she is, Mary knows in the society in which she lives, being engaged and pregnant by anyone other than her fiancé is a dangerous proposition to be in, and she has done nothing to put herself in this dangerous predicament. Mary has lived her whole life with low social status. She can expect pregnancy under these conditions to drop her to an all-time low in social standing. And besides that, this whole thing is impossible, crazy beyond belief. Now note, Mary is not reprimanded for questioning the reasonableness of this announcement or for hesitating a moment as the realities of being in a situation like this begin to set in and start flooding her mind. What will she tell her parents? What will the neighbors say? What will Joseph do? Note also, as one scholar says, while this whole venture is a possibility, taking on this role is not imposed on Mary. She has a choice. She has to decide. Presumably, she can walk away, get married to Joseph, have a joyful wedding celebration, probably live a good life, most likely a modest life, but a life filled with the richness of family and friends, going to market, cooking, raising children, worship, familiar traditions, the usual ups and downs of life. Not spectacular, perhaps, but expected, familiar, pretty normal, not unusually dangerous, and at least believable. Mary is not reprimanded for her questioning, not admonished for a moment of hesitation as all of these thoughts float through her mind. But she is reassured with a bit of an explanation, as puzzling as it is, and with a promise nothing is impossible with God. And we find that in time, an enthusiastic Mary moves into partnership with the holy. Perhaps, though, it takes a little while to get used to the idea. Perhaps more assurance is needed before realizing this unexpected pregnancy, this strange, unbelievable twist of fate is happening to her. Perhaps she needs the counsel of an older woman. Or maybe Mary just needs to get away from this small town for a while before the chatter, the gossip, the stares begin in full force. Time to think, to rest, to be preparing for what is yet to come. At any rate, Mary goes to see old Elizabeth, pregnant old Elizabeth, and immediately Elizabeth understands something unusual, something amazing, something of God is happening here. When Elizabeth greets Mary, sharing with her her new insights, young Mary begins to grasp more fully the significance, the enormity, the transforming marvel into which God is drawing her. A bit more aware of the wonder of the journey before her, Mary's heart fills with gratitude as she joyfully embraces the task God is giving her, even with the tough times that will come.